Hi, good afternoon. My name is Elislars, and I'm a student of Dr. Levy. Today, I'm going to talk about autism and talk about different strategies we can use in the classroom when dealing with students with autism. Autism is a complex developmental disability that typically appears during the first 3 years of life, and it affects a person's ability to communicate and interact with others. Autism is defined by a certain set of behaviors, and it is a spectrum disorder that affects individuals very different and to very different degrees. Based on statistics from the U.S. Department of Education and other governmental agencies, autism is growing at a startling rate of 10 to 15% per year. At this rate, Autism Society estimates that the prevalence of autism could reach 4 million Americans in the next decade. With autism being on the rise, it's even more important that educators educate themselves on how to handle students with autism and how they can help them to reach their full learning potential. Autism can affect any child and any family. It doesn't discriminate. It does, however, affect more boys than girls. At this point, there's no single known cause of autism, but it's generally accepted that it is caused by abnormalities in the brain structure and/or function. Brain scans show differences in the shape and structure of the brain in children with autism versus neurotypical children. At this point, researchers are investigating a number of theories, including a link between heredity, genetics, and medical problems. Every person with autism is a unique individual, and like everyone else, they have their own very special personality, and they have a combination of characteristics. Like some people who are only mildly affected may only be having language delays and communication problems, while other students may have much more severe characteristics. Educating children with autism is a challenge for both parents and teachers. These children are individuals first and foremost with unique strengths and weaknesses. Some may be above average to above average intelligence, while others may be below average. Academic goals need to be tailored to that individual's intellectual ability and functioning level. Students with autism face different challenges in the classroom. One challenge they face every single day is how to interact with their peers and making friendships. Many of them have a very hard time establishing friendships with their peers because of their difficulties in communicating and interacting. The main challenge for students or for the teachers handling students with autism is how to help these students reach their full learning potential and how to help them get full access to the general education curriculum. I'm going to talk about a few strategies that I have used myself in working with an autistic child, and also based on things that I've been reading. I think first it's important to have an environment that's not overly stimulating, not too much going on at the same time. I think this means that it should be peaceful and quiet, not too much unnecessary talking, because this can be very distracting to an autistic child. Autistic children get distracted very, very easily, and especially in the classroom where there are so many other kids, it is important that the noise level be kept to a minimum. This also includes teachers and other staff members to minimize talking between themselves so that this doesn't distract the student. Another thing which I think is very, very important is that the environment, the classroom, is a structured environment with predictable routines. And this is something that I experience every single day when working with an autistic child, is how important that really is. They don't like surprises. They want to know what class to go to next, where to go, because that gives them a sense of independence, to know these things, to know where to put, what folder to put what in, to know that, okay, after science comes math, and after math we have specials. And I think it is important that every class that the child is in, that the teachers make it an effort to make every day as predictable as possible. It's also important to give, I think, to give visual instructions with terms of rules and classroom schedule. When it comes down to rules, you could have on the board hanging different rules, how to behave in your classroom, so they can read it and see it and look at it. And also a schedule is very important, and not only that they have a schedule, but that the schedule is visual in the classroom. And it could look something like this. 9 o'clock math, 10 o'clock science, just so that they know. They're still going to ask, but at least you can just refer to the board and they can see for themselves. I also think it's important when you are giving assignment instructions that it's also simple instructions being given, also instructions in writing, not just by hearing it, but sometimes they need to see it for themselves in writing to understand it better. I think as a teacher in a classroom with autistic children, it's important that you're aware of the signs of anxiety and stress. And sometimes autistic students may be having sensory issue or feeling emotional overload or showing other signs of stress. And sometimes the students might be putting their hands over their ears or squeezing a body part or do a repetitive behavior. The student that I was working with, he would constantly be rocking his chair back and forth when he was uncomfortable or going through stress for something. And that would be a sign for me to know that I need to take him out of this situation. It's usually to take him out of the classroom to a more calm environment where he can relax for a little bit and put his head down and to kind of recoup. And I think that's important for teachers to be aware of, so they can easily and quickly take the student out of the situation. Then I also think something else is important is to give the student fewer choices. Like, for example, if you are giving them a choice of what cover page to use for a project, instead of offering 10 different choices in colors, offer, say, do you want yellow or red? Because choices makes them confused, and many of them are not good at making choices, and will not even make it. Some of them will not even make a choice. So to give fewer choices is good. If you're having a project, and they can choose their own topic, maybe just offer 2 choices for the autistic child instead of a long list of different choices, not to make them confused. I think it's important for teachers to try and encourage and promote interactions with students so they can learn social skills. Autistic children often have a problem with social skills, and appropriate behavior is very important. And it's good sometimes in the beginning, especially if the social interaction could be structured. And with practice, they will start to understand how to socially interact with their peers. And I think social interactions almost needs to be taught to them, just like academic skills. So I think if you work with many autistic children, it's good if you could include this in the curriculum, social skills, just like we teach them other things. Like I said, it's important to eliminate stress. The autistic child needs to learn in a quiet and calm classroom. And many of them are visual learners. They learn better by looking at something, looking at pictures, and that's also important. I have the child that I work with and a couple of other autistic children, they do very well on the computer, and we use that a lot when working with autistic children. They seem to do better because you're able to stay focused longer, and I guess maybe it's more fun for some of them, but I have very good experience using computers when working with autistic children. Children with autism have a great potential of living a life independently when they become adults. And I think it's important that the curriculum tried to put an emphasis on this by teaching them daily life skills, like living skills, community skills, and even employment skills. How to get a job, how to write a resume, or it could be domestic skills, and how to take public transportation. This will all increase their chances of an independent life as an adult. And I think especially for high school students, it's very important that these things are being put into the curriculum. So I hope that these were some ideas that you can use while teaching students with autism, and that I think, like I said in the beginning, I think it's very important that we're all aware of how to help these students, because they deserve the best possible education just like everyone else. And I think that if more educators are aware of small little things that can be done in the classroom to make it easier for these students, I think that will be something that everyone will benefit from. Thank you.